Happy Aloha Friday and welcome to This Is Now. We begin with a live look outside over Honolulu through the eyes of our tower cam. The sun is out and the skies are blue now, but it was a very different scene this morning.
Yeah, drivers were hit with downpours, which made the morning commute rather difficult. We will have a little bit more on your traffic updates in just a few moments, but first we want to talk about the system that brought all of this rain to the state as it's kind of quickly moving through the islands. Let's go ahead and send things over to our Guy Hagi.
We are looking at a very squishy, stormy morning. We've had scattered showers across the state with some heavy downpours out there. And that's why flood alerts were triggered from last night and they continue this morning. And we could see more heavy rainfall probably into the early afternoon. Now, the disturbance is expected to slowly weaken and slowly pull away to the northeast. And that's why we are expecting much drier conditions by later tonight through tomorrow. So there could still be some heavy rainfall throughout the day today, especially for the south and west-facing shoreline. So flooding is still a potential out there. Again, we are expecting some afternoon clouds and afternoon showers to linger. Otherwise, we're still expecting some pockets of sunshine coming in from time to time. That's why that UV index has been up to very high, temperature running to about 84 degrees. So we've highlighted today in red because of the potential heavy rainfall and possible flooding early in the day up until the afternoon, and then slowly by tonight through the next several days, the weather's really going to start to dry up. Although there might be a few lingering showers tomorrow, overall we're expecting fair conditions. It's going to be a beautiful weekend with those trade winds coming back. Breezy trade winds expected back on Monday.
Thank you so much, Guy. I know when you guys were tracking this system earlier in the week, you said the western end of the state was the main area of concern, but now this is clearly impacting Hawaii Island, Maui County. Did we expect it to reach down south?
Yeah, we had expected it to drift over. Now, yesterday, Kauai and Oahu, we were the places with the highest threat for the heavy rainfall. And that slowly eased up, although it kind of meandered around into last night. We didn't really see the heavy rainfall until really this morning when things started up, and it had spread by then all the way down to Hawaii Island. And the moisture remains around for the better part of the day today.
Right, and as you mentioned, the showers are fairly moving rather briskly through, right? They're not stationary?
Well, I wouldn't say briskly, but they are moving, so that's good. And with the winds running light, they're moving a little slower, but at least they're moving. Now, this morning over on the Kohala coast, they weren't moving. And that's why a flash flood warning was posted there, because the rainfall was allowed to accumulate, and that's why you had flooding occurring. But on the whole, the disturbance is slowly drifting away to the northeast.
Got it. And one more question for you. Yesterday was a first alert weather day for Kauai and Oahu, but today we're stopping short of declaring it that. Tell us a little bit more about why.
Yeah, you're right about that, because the potential for the heavy rainfall is limited to the morning and the early afternoon hours is what I would say. And the nature of the showers is that they're moving along rather quickly, and the thunderstorms are kind of backing off. So at this point, it looks like the severe weather will be limited in scope, and that's why we've kind of pulled back on that severe that first alert weather day.
Got it. Guy Hagi with our first alert weather forecast. Thank you so much for joining us here on This Is Now.
Sure, Dylan.
We want to go ahead now and take a look at our first alert traffic with our Jonathan Masaki. Aloha, Jonathan. How's it going?
Well, guys, thanks for having me here. You know, got stuck in the muck of all that happened today. I'm sure you guys did too. So early today, we got to tell you that Nimitz Highway was pretty messed up, and that was right by Sand Island Access Road, and that was due to a big rig losing a lot of its cargo load, and it was spread all across the lanes. Okay, so about 3 lanes were tied up, but the good news is as we go to our camera right now, traffic is back moving, and the flow looks very nice right here, that very intersection that you see on the screen. But I want to show you other conditions going on throughout our island right now. We're going to go to this camera. This is the traffic conditions, kind of a slow and go in the H1, H2. That also has cleared up earlier today. That was kind of tied up, but you do see the remnants of the rain that affected the commute a little bit earlier. Let's go to our next camera right now, the Halava interchange. When I looked at this just about 20 minutes ago, it was kind of all fogged in, but the good news, as we are talking about, the drier conditions are coming in, so it's really improving the conditions on the roadway there as we see the flow and go moving very, very well. We have one other camera to show you right now. This is camera right at the interchange of UH and Dole Street. You're gonna see this area get really crazy busy tonight, and we'll tell you why as we go to this slide to show you what's going on. We have 2 graduations taking place at the University of Hawaii today. The University Lab School will be at Andrews Amphitheater at about 5:30 p.m. The Moanalua graduation will be at 6 p.m. That's going to be at the Stan Sheriff Center. So as the DOT has advised us for the past week or so, expect the traffic to be heavy on Dole Street, University Avenue, and the H1 2 hours prior to any of these events. And then after the events end, expect that traffic to be very heavy 2 hours after the fact. So it's going to be a busy Friday afternoon, Friday night, and over into the late hours of the evening.
Yeah, definitely. We saw through the traffic cameras. Some of the roads are still a little bit wet out there, but so far no major incidents out on the roads. In the afternoons, tell us how's that graduation traffic in town? How impacting and how severe is it these days?
Well, I saw HPD on scene last night during our camera shot. So, they're there also to help with the control of the traffic. So it is bad, it is heavy, but every time, this time of the year, we all kind of anticipate that, okay? Yeah. So it's been moving, but again, heads up, everyone, just be aware it's going to be very, very crazy busy with 2 graduations taking place on one night.
Yeah, and especially to the fact that Aloha Stadium is no longer in use. So these schools are finding other venues, UH Manoa, Stan Sheriff. Jonathan, we appreciate you keeping an eye on all the traffic for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan. All right, time for some other headlines. The trial of Maiko Hirokawa continued today. He's the man charged in a brutal sexual assault case in Honolulu. On the stand today is Hirokawa's friend and co-worker who was with him the night of the alleged attack. He says they went to a Honolulu bar together the night of November 20th, 2020, and while he was drinking heavily, he says Hirokawa was not. He says Hirokawa drove him home that night, and he recalls getting phone calls the next day telling him that his friend was in trouble.
He just called and said, "Hey, this is Alan. Mikey's got into some trouble and he's gonna need your help with bail." I remember we were waiting for the charges. I was at home. It's stressful. We're worried now. Mikey's in jail.
The 34-year-old who is under house arrest has pleaded not guilty to attempted murder, sex assault, and kidnapping charges. If convicted, Hirokawa could face life in prison.
Family members say 84-year-old Francisco Frank Pangilinan was last seen at home this past Monday wearing a turquoise shirt with shorts. On that same day, his car was found at the Kapolei Home Depot. His daughter says he is a U.S. Army veteran and suffers from dementia. A search party is set for 3:30 this afternoon. Organizers say to meet at the Kapolei Home Depot. They plan to search by foot for a few hours. A family wants answers and justice after they say their child was allegedly abused at a military daycare center. Hours after an H&N Investigates inquiry, charges were filed for 2 women. Our Maheilani Richardson reports.
2-year-old Bella is curious and full of energy. But in August of last year, her parents, Kate and Army Captain J.D. Kirkendall, noticed a strange bruise on her thigh. Later, they found up to 20 small injuries.
I was so upset. We went into the ambulance, and that's when we found all the other bruises on her body, her stomach, her face.
The Kirkendalls say their daughter was abused by 3 different workers at the Child Development Center on Ford Island, part of the Child Youth Program run by the Navy, and they saw it on video. The Kirkendalls say they were able to view 75 hours of video from the Child Development Center, and they say that's when they saw their daughter was repeatedly pinched, slapped, shaken, and her hair was pulled.
You see Isabella reacting to it, right? Like holding her leg, crying hysterically. And anytime that she'd cry, they would just inflict more pain, more pain, more pain.
The alleged abuse happened between August 22nd and 24th of last year. 2 days later, military police and HPD were contacted, but the Kirkendalls say the case went nowhere for 9 months. After hearing about the case, H&N Investigates contacted the Navy, the Honolulu prosecutor, and HPD Monday morning around 11:30. An hour and a half later, court documents show 2 women, civilians, Annalyn Natividad de Guzman and Marilyn Demetrio Kanekoa, were charged with assault in the 3rd degree, a misdemeanor crime.
What do you make of the timing?
If that's what it takes to get accountability, I'd say that's unfortunate.
We're borderline happy, but borderline sad and scared and upset. I mean, it shouldn't have taken this long to get to this point.
Court documents say the two women did intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly cause bodily injury and physical pain to the child. A Navy spokesman said of its child programs, quote, "It is extremely rare, but if any mistreatment is uncovered, immediate corrective actions are taken."
We've been told by the Navy that there's investigations internal to this, and that may be true, but nothing has come of significance to us.
The family says they've been told the workers in question no longer work at the Child Development Center, but it's unclear what happened to a third person they saw on video, allegedly hurting little Bella.
A Lahaina man suspected of a horrific hit-and-run crash has been released pending investigation. Maui police arrested 38-year-old Jermaine Mudong on multiple counts, including driving while intoxicated. They did not say why they released him. On Tuesday morning, Mudong allegedly rear-ended a 32-year-old woman on a moped, and she was stuck under his car as he drove nearly half a mile on Honoapi'ilani Highway in Waikapu. Loved ones tell us the victim is Jillian Crows. She was airlifted to Oahu with life-threatening injuries. A former firefighter and EMT were among those who helped at the crash site.
She was not alert. She didn't have her eyes open except for about 3 minutes in, and she opened her eyes. Very bad shoulder wound on the back, which was a big concern. It was definitely an artery or something major that was hit. Most of the bones were broken open.
And she has a free moment. She's in her Bible, highlighting, taking notes in her journal. And that Bible that she brings to work every day was just above her head. Even though this was such a horrific accident and everything was all over the place, her and her Bible were right there together.
Crow's loved ones set up a GoFundMe page to help her with her medical bills. Look for a link on our website.
Jim Brown, Pro Football Hall of Famer, actor, and prominent civil rights advocate during the 1960s, has died. He was 87 years old. A spokeswoman for Brown's family said he passed away peacefully in his Los Angeles home on Thursday night with his wife Monique by his side. One of the greatest players in football history and one of the game's first superstars, Brown was chosen as the NFL's most valuable player in 1965 and shattered the league's record books in a career spanning from 1957 to 65. Brown led the Cleveland Browns to their last NFL title in 1964 before retiring in his prime to become an actor. He appeared in more than 30 films, including Any Given Sunday and The Dirty Dozen.
At the G7 summit in Japan, President Biden and world leaders unveiled new Russia sanctions, and measures against China are also expected. HNN's White House correspondent John Decker reports from Hiroshima.
President Biden and fellow G7 leaders began day one of the summit with a visit to the Hiroshima Memorial Museum, the area in which the first atom bomb was detonated in August of 1945. The leaders also met with the Hiroshima survivors. From there, the G7 summit discussions got underway, focusing on the top agenda item, the war in Ukraine. G7 leaders pledged to continue their military and humanitarian support for Ukraine and also announced additional hard-hitting sanctions against Russia.
We stand up for the shared values, including supporting the brave people of Ukraine as they defend their sovereign territory and holding Russia accountable for its brutal aggression.
China is also in the crosshairs at the G7. President Biden and his G7 counterparts are expected to announce new measures aimed at countering China's use of what the U.S. calls economic coercion against other countries by hampering or blocking foreign competition.
We're tracking the global challenges from strengthening our community and our commitment to nuclear nonproliferation to ensuring a free and open Indo-Pacific.
Looming over this annual meeting of the leaders of the world's wealthiest democracies is the very real concern that the U.S. will default on its debt obligations. President Biden says he's optimistic that a deal with Republican leaders will soon be reached, a message that he's also delivered to his G7 counterparts. President Biden says he's confident a deal with Republican lawmakers will soon be reached. That's a message that he's also delivered to his G7 counterparts. A U.S. debt default would have disastrous consequences for the global economy. Traveling with the president in Hiroshima, Japan, I'm John Decker.
Migrant encounters are down dramatically since Title 42 ended, according to the Department of Homeland Security. It says they've dropped about 70% based on a comparison of 48-hour periods before and after the policy expired. Now, Border Patrol is averaging about 3,000 encounters a day, often with people from Mexico, Honduras, or Guatemala. The agency warns it's too soon to draw conclusions or predict trends, and migration remains at historic levels. As for deportation, it says it sent back more than 11,000 people to more than 30 countries since May 12th.
We're learning more about the health of California Senator Dianne Feinstein as calls for her to resign continue. The 89-year-old Democrat recently returned to Capitol Hill after a nearly 3-month absence due to a case of shingles, and her office confirms that she's dealing with some major complications. Nicole Killian has more.
California Senator Dianne Feinstein came back to the Capitol last week to a standing ovation.
I want to welcome back our colleague, Senator Dianne Feinstein.
Mrs. Feinstein. Mrs. Feinstein, aye.
After battling shingles for nearly 3 months, a spokesperson for the 89-year-old Democrat confirmed Thursday she suffered from additional complications, including a rare neurological disorder called Ramsay-Hunt syndrome and encephalitis, or inflammation of the brain.
How is your recovery going, Senator?
Earlier this week, the senator faced renewed scrutiny over her health after a Los Angeles Times reporter asked her about her return to the Senate.
I haven't been going. I've been working.
You've been working from home is what you're saying?
No, I've been here.
I think she should step down.
California Congressman Ro Khanna is one of several lawmakers demanding Feinstein's resignation.
She's representing 40 million people in California. We need someone who's going to be on top of the job.
Feinstein holds a seat on the powerful Senate Judiciary Committee where Democrats now have a 1-vote advantage over Republicans. So missing 1 vote leaves Democrats short of getting President Biden's judicial nominees through.
What kind of accommodations do you have to make?
Well, we schedule things that work for her to make sure that she's able to attend physically.
I was mayor of San Francisco for 9 years.
As the longest-serving female senator, the 5-term legislator announced in February that she would not seek re-election next year. Congresswoman Katie Porter is running for her seat.
Any concerns about her ability to serve out her full term?
I think it's very, very clear that it's time for a change in California. That's why I declared to run.
Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
A group of TikTok users sued to overturn Montana's new controversial statewide ban of the social media app. They allege the law signed Wednesday by Governor Greg Gianforte violates the First Amendment. Gianforte says it will protect users' private data from being accessed by TikTok's Chinese parent company. Other states have banned TikTok on official government devices. The Montana ban attempts to prohibit TikTok from operating in the state and to block downloads of TikTok on personal devices, but it would not penalize individuals for using the app. The ban is currently set to take effect in January. So far, 33 states have taken action to restrict TikTok on state-issued devices. There is no public evidence to suggest that China's government has actually accessed TikTok's user data. Well, the weekend is here, and there are several things taking place. For more on what to expect, here's Billy V with your H&N Sunrise Weekend Preview.
Thank you very much. Coming up on Sunrise Weekends, climate change on Mauna Kea. No snow on the mountaintop. We'll have a researcher in our studios to talk more about that. Also, World Belly Dance Day is Saturday. Are you ready? Asian Pacific Islander Month here in Hawaii, and it's going to be at the first ever Island Avenue Fashion Presentation. We'll give you a preview. Also, Hurricane Fair is coming up on Sunday. Are you ready? These stories and more with myself, Billy V, and Annalisa Burgos. That's Saturday and Sunday morning starting at 7 on Hawaii News Now.
Thank you so much, Billy. We appreciate it. A lot of things happening this weekend. Let's go ahead and give you a live look outside over Hilo, Hawaii. Some cloud cover there, but nothing too severe. We know earlier in the morning, parts of Hawaii Island were under a flash flood warning. But of course, a lot of these alerts are starting to taper off as the sun is now coming out.
Yeah, we want to pass along. We just got word of a power outage affecting HECO customers here on Oahu. We're told more than 1,700 customers are affected in Kaneohe. The outage started just after 11 this morning, and service will hopefully be restored in a little bit at 12:30. Now, the cause of the outage at this time is unknown, and we will keep you updated updated on any information that we get.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
It's time to go check out some news from the feeds. What do you think, Ashley?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go.
All right, so I'm really super excited about this. This is the day I've been waiting for. So it's no secret that Hawaii loves Toyota Tacomas. Well, Hawaii Island had the honor of unveiling the pickup truck's newest models. Fire enough dancers lit up the debut of the 2024 Hybrid Trail Hunter, the Hybrid TRD Pro, and the Sport model last night at the Mauna Lani in Kona. Now, Toyota says it chose Hawaii over any other spot in the U.S. because obviously Toyota has been the most popular vehicle in the islands for more than 2 decades, and they say the new trucks are built for off-roading. Fashion designer Kuha Zane of Sig Zane Designs was on hand to debut a new print in honor of the trucks.
I think that speaks to them actually leaning into this island lifestyle.
Now, Kuha'o says the new pattern with koa trees symbolizes the strength of the Tacoma, while the earthy tone is inspired by alaya, a natural mineral used for cooking and medicine, combined with Hawaiian sea salt.
Quite smart to target the audience here.
Yeah,
I mean, it's about time.
I have a Tacoma, and that was from 2001, and it's still going.
There
So
you
it's
go.
about time for me to get another one.
Oh, well, turning to news out of Massachusetts, a 12-year-old Massachusetts girl jumped into action when she saw her twin brother choking in the middle of the school cafeteria last week.
Yeah, they hope the frightening incident is an opportunity for other kids to learn what to do in that situation. Tammy Mutasa has more.
I'm gonna die. The worst outcome went through Charlie's mind when the 12-year-old was seen on surveillance video choking in the school cafeteria. But call it twin intuition. His sister Amelia spots him. She doesn't hesitate, saving her brother with the Heimlich maneuver.
It's just scary, and then you just don't know like what's gonna happen next. It was just instinct. I didn't really know what to do. I just feel like I had to help him.
When Charlie had started choking on the piece of mozzarella cheese, other students around him were too shocked to act.
They were all pretty scared, and they didn't know what to do.
The Red Cross says if someone is choking and they can't cough, speak, or breathe, bend the person forward and give them 5 back blows. Wrap your arms around them and give them 5 abdominal thrusts, known as the Heimlich maneuver. Keep going until the object comes out. If the person goes unconscious, try CPR.
I would say talk to the kids about life-saving stuff like this. Whether you think it registers or not, you know, they may tune it out, but clearly something sat in and she recalled it when she needed it.
Their proud dad says kids never know when they'll need the life-saving lessons.
If you can help somebody and you can react regardless of if you're nervous or not, you should.
Now the twins are even closer and back to doing what they love, playing ball in their Fenway-themed backyard and telling each other what to do. Amelia is, after all, an hour older.
And I would just say thank you because I'm still here.
Are you going to boss him around more now after this?
Probably.
Well, thank goodness for the quick thinking there. Life-saving.
That twin connection there.
Yeah.
So time for some good news. We want to introduce you to, look at this guy, K9 Kahu. Look how happy he is.
Aww.
He works for the Public Safety Department's Narcotics Enforcement Division, and thanks to charitable donations, he received his bullet and stab protective vest to keep him safe while on duty. Now, K9 Kahu is an electronic storage device detection dog, the only one in Hawaii, and his main duty is to help with criminal investigations by locating hidden devices such as cell phones, thumb drives, and memory cards.
So cute and really appreciative of that protective gear. Of course, canines are such an important part of law enforcement. Ash, I know you got a dog. Stanley, maybe you're going to enroll him?
Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know if he's the temperament for that. Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us throughout the week here on This Is Now. We hope you have a wonderful Aloha Friday and the rest of your weekend.
Aloha.